What up?
Hi.
Do you want to hear me gush about some fucking machinery?
Yes. I want to hear it all.
I don't think you give a damn. Remember how pumped I was about that stupid, George Foreman grill I got from the thrift store?
I remember very well.
Guess what? I got more of that pumped, except it's for some free shit. Check this out. So, companies, they'll write me, they'll email me and be like, hey, do you want some free shit? And I just delete those. I never open those. Like, I just see what's going on. Usually the companies are like, they'll like be like, oh, do you want some free shit? And then they'll be like, because your channel is so amazing. You've got the best content. And I'm like, all right, I'm not reading any more of this thick bullshit, right? So, I never open those emails. And then, this company, they hit me up on Instagram in the messages, like in the DMs. And, they were like, hey, do you want a blender? And I was like, there was this moment where I, like, the knee-jerk reaction was going to be like, go fuck yourself. But then there was this moment where my brain was like, hey, you said you were going to work on your poverty mentality. Quit being such a poor bastard. Say yes. My brain was rooting for me in the DMs. So, I was like, well, do I have to say anything? Like, am I going to have to read some shit? And they seriously were like, just give me your address and I'm going to mail you a blender. They didn't ask for shit. It was like, I could have taken the blender and like ran to Mexico. They didn't request for anything. And I was like, exactly. This is a company who I will accept some shit from, I guess. So it was a big deal to accept some free shit.
Was it life-changing?
Actually, it was, because this is gonna sound so dumb. So we got the blender in the mail, and it's like this massive package. It was like, oh my god, did we just get like a free off-brand Vitamix? Like, is this gonna bring the noise? But it's a different brand. And he took it out of the package, and it's like, holy fuck. And I just had this moment of like, am I worth it? This is too nice. This is way too nice. And I looked up, and on their website, it said like $200, which is a fuckload of money. And then I looked on Amazon, it said $150, but right before I started the video, I think they lowered the prices. Amazon said like $109, free shipping with Prime or whatever. So I guess it's not that fancy if it's only $100, but that's a fuckload of money. Okay, I'm getting off topic. What am I here to say? So the first time I used the blender, dude, it's hard to explain these emotions. It's like, I remember I had a friend, one fancy friend, well, one wannabe fancy friend, and she said that whenever she would get depressed, she would go walk around the expensive ass mall and feel awesome. And I was like, no, dude, I feel anxiety when I'm at the mall. I did not understand what she was saying, but she just felt elevated at the mall, emotionally elevated. I swear to God, the first time I put some shit in the blender, in this blender, I was completely elevated. I was somewhere else. I felt like I was in a YouTube video. Like I was one of the fancy YouTubers. Not YouTubing, but just like you watch people on YouTube and they look like they have like an expensive ass apartment and they have like a fancy ass equipment or whatever. And I seriously felt like my shitty apartment disappeared and I was just making some fucking classy shit. That's crazy. I've never felt that about anything. I've never been like completely elevated, like my self-worth, like it added some retail value to my... It's hard to explain. Have you ever felt that? Do you feel like that when you wear fancy shoes?
Sometimes.
You feel like you're instantly like there's a little bit bigger and better about you? A blender did that for me. What? It's fucking ridiculous. Dude.
Well, you've been wanting a Vitamix.
Dude, this I feel like fuck it, fuck Vitamin. Like I just have this suck it, right? That's the motion I keep making. You can't see it. I'm like, suck it. I got this. This thing is amazing. It's got like all these fancy buttons and shit. And I've been wanting to make like a vegan cheese video, but every time I looked it up to make this, everybody recommends like a nice high-speed blender, and I was like, oh, wait, suck it up, buttercup. You're not gonna make it. You're gonna have to wait. But so that's why I made this, because I can. Seriously, the way I feel about this blender, about the company.
Is the way you felt about George Foreman
No,
grills?
dude. No. I've never felt elevated by a fucking George Foreman grill. I always felt like...
You were enthusiastic.
Yeah. But it's different. It's not... It's comparing apples to oranges. No. Check this out.
It's another plane.
This is the best way to explain this. And by the way, all of these recipes and my explanation of how these taste and all this other stuff, the texture, all this is on the blog. So in case you're actually here for a recipe, that's where the info is. But the way I feel about the blender is like I was a homeless person sitting on the side of the road and somebody drove up with a Cadillac and was like, do you want this? And I was like, you think I can get in it? And they gave me the keys, and that was the end. I just drove off as a homeless person, and now I'm not home. That's seriously how I feel about this blender. Dude, yes. So, peace.